What's happening? I'm Michael and this is Budget Build. What's happening, budget builders, and welcome back to the channel. Once again, I want to thank you all so much for all the positive love and support that we've had so far on the channel and on this Porsche rebuild. So today, let's go ahead and jump back into it. Let's finish getting the floors cleaned up, get it structurally sound, and go ahead and get the pan stuck on the sucker so we can finish up the suspension and get it laid back down on the ground, because I know I am super excited to get the sucker rolling around, and I hope you guys are too. Hopefully I don't sound too terrible. I have a sinus infection and a double ear infection, but we got to get out here and we got to get to work and get this done.
Oh, he can get out. Okay, what the heck? All right. Right there on the steering.
First thing let's go to do, I'm going to wire brush a little bit more here. Let's get some rust converter on it. Most of it's just going to be surface rust once we get done with this. We want to be sure it's not going to come back and it's taken care of. Get everything coated down really good. Maybe go ahead and put some patch panels in here. Get this bottom, get that little bit, this left trimmed out. Go ahead and drill all the holes, and then we'll go ahead and get this pan stuck up in here.
I hate that crap. Camera can't even see that.
All right, so we've just about got everything trimmed out here on the floor. Let me go ahead and make a couple little patch pieces so we can weld in here so we can get ready to stick this panel on. All right, so if my measuring's that good, we're gonna have some fun. All right, now that we got everything cleaned up there, we've got a couple patch panels in. There's a few more spots we need to work with, but I'm gonna go ahead and work with a little bit more once we get the floor in. just so I see how everything fits. I want everything to come together pretty nicely, and I want it to look good when we're done with it. So let's go ahead and get this ready to go. We need to drill out some spots where we can spot weld from underneath here, and then we'll be ready to go ahead and stick this sucker up on there. We'll tap it around a little bit just because obviously stuff's a little warbly. We have to get everything nice and straight, and we'll go ahead and start spot welding this sucker in so we can go ahead and go to town.
I can start tack, 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 and we can lay that on. Oh, you want to do them now? Okay. That's probably where welding was. I don't know. Do you know where the welding ones are?
Alright, so we got the rear floorboard stuck in there. It is not perfect. We're not quite done yet. We do have to come in from the inside and hit some more welds. Got a little bit more work we got to do on that center tunnel here in the near future. Do got to fill in and clean up some more welds a little bit. But we've got a nice heat sink. Nice bite up top here. And so far everything's looking really good. It's honestly, I got a nice bead coming down here, and it's realistically really strong, and I think it'll do really well in this car. It's not perfect by any means. We're doing it in the backyard with the wind blowing. Don't have terrible porosity, have a little bit and a few welds here and there that I need to clean up and work with some more. But let's go ahead and finish cleaning up front here so we can get that front floor panel stuck in. All right, so we just about got this floor finished tacked in, went ahead and run down and tacked down the tunnel everywhere the best we could. This sucker's quite sturdy in here. I think it'll do pretty good. Like I said before, it's not perfect. We're novice at this. We're learning as we go and taking you guys along with us. Honestly, realistically, I wouldn't even want to begin to guess how much it would cost to pay a Porsche restoration shop or restoration shop, how much it would cost to be able to put these floors in, to pay them to do it. But we're doing it ourselves. We're getting it done. I think it'll be nice and sturdy when we get done with it. So far, everything seems pretty good. We kind of trying to have to bend everything around, make sure it fits in pretty good. Overall, it did quite well. But in some spots where this thing had been jacked underneath before in the past, you know how these cars do, we had to pry it out a little bit and try to hammer everything out to get everything just right, tack it and beat it as we went along. But as we're tacking everything and it's burning off the primer off of the floorboards, we're going ahead and hitting it with this high build flexible primer surfacer gray from Crest Industries. Really getting a good coating on this thing so we can be prepared to put an undercoating on it once we get everything wrapped up. So now that we're done or close to being done with the rear floorboard here, let's go ahead and can you see all this? Let's go ahead and finish trimming all this out, getting all that cleaned out so we can start seeing about getting our front floorboard put in and getting the front piece put in here so we can get wrapped up underneath, so we can get it so we can get everything coated and get wrapped up underneath this car. Here once again, other than surface rust, super nice and super solid, especially up in here, you can tell. What I'm having to do here is these pinch welds were pinched. For some reason it looks like they have a little bit of a tack here and there. What I've done is actually cut the tack off, and then we're folding that back out, and then we'll get the actual floor pan cut out of here and get all this cleaned up so we can go ahead and start working at getting ready to put this floor pan in. All right, so we're getting really close. As you can see, we got just a little bit of trimming to do here. We're gonna mark it up, cut that off. Got to trim a little bit more up here, but obviously you wanna cut not enough off, then cut too much off, and then be trying to fill in a gap or anything. So we just need to clean it up a little bit, do some trimming, and get ready to tack this sucker in here. We're so close, I can almost taste it. Just gotta fill this, gotta put this little patch panel in here, and we'll be just about wrapped up with the underneath of the car here. And then we can clean in, get some seam sealer in it, get some undercoating, and start working on that suspension, get ready to flip this sucker over. I know this video was a lot of going on and doing this, and it's going to be a lot of music and just us working, but this is, honestly, it's taken days and days and days and days for us to be able to get as far as we have so far on this car. But we're getting really close, and we're just about ready, like I said, to finish up that suspension, go ahead and lay this sucker over on its wheels. So we can go ahead and maybe roll this thing around, maybe get it in the garage and really start going to town on this sucker. It's been a lot of, like I said, just work videos, but now we're ready to start doing little tasks to finally get this car to shape up together, and I can't wait for it to I can't wait for it to get there, and I hope you guys are as excited as I am to be able to do that. All right, just kidding. Quick intermission. Had some people mention potentially tearing into this thing, seeing what's wrong with it, you know, potentially rebuilding it. So it's dark and cold outside right now. I'm inside on the kitchen counter. My wife is out getting some groceries. Hopefully she don't fuss at me when she get home. Let's dig into this thing real quick and see if we can figure out what's going on with it and see if we can potentially fix it. Hopefully the lighting's all right here. Let's go ahead and see about popping off this vacuum advance.
Was going on. I didn't know there were sirens or anything. I was like oblivious to all of it. Oh, that's scary. Oh, that makes me so mad. Oh, I'm sorry. Should I be talking?
Yeah, you're fine.
Okay. Michael's recording something for YouTube. I can't remember which is which. Oh, this is mine, because I got the home wreck. Because I'm a home wrecker.
Do you need to bring groceries in, or?
I got food from those. I'm just going to eat first. The food will be fine out there.
Okay.
Until we're done eating. I'm hungry. Alright, well, I'm going to get off here and eat my Moe's. Okay, have fun with that. Alright.
Alright, let's pop this doohickey here off. See what that does. Sure, probably lets our terminal here loose. Yep. Just gonna pop these points out. Oh my, or attempt to. Alright, and there's the points. Pop this little shield off here. Consider popping this little shield off here. Oop. A little rusty in there. Okay. So I did give this thing a good pry. It popped loose. Just had some rust and corrosion in there. I did bend it a little bit. Or did I do that? Actually, no, just kidding. I didn't do that. It was like that. As you can see, kind of rusty and crusty in there. And broken. There's that. I'm just popping these springs off, which are kind of like your little fly out actuator springs. I'm just kidding. I don't know if that's what that is. Sounds good though. So there's that. You can see where it just sheared right off. And realistically, feels pretty good in there. Other than that, so now what I'm thinking you got to do is pop this little dowel out. Okay, I'm doing on this in the I'm doing this on the kitchen table. But basically, as you can see, everything in there works. And honestly, bearings feel okay. So I just need to pop this dowel out, pull this thing apart, maybe get a new shaft for it, and we might be able to save that distributor. Thank you all who commented about doing this. This will probably save a lot of money because they're $400 or $500 for a distributor. If anyone has one of these laying around, let me know. Possibly one of those as well. And we'll kind of refurbish this thing, get it cleaned up, get that new shaft put in there, and get it rebuilt. All right, well, back to the exit thing. Once again, I want to thank you all so much for all the positive love and support that we've had so far on this channel and on this build. If you guys enjoyed this and all the other crazy cars that we have going on, bringing these old cars back to life that, you know, realistically were near death or beyond it, be sure to hit the subscribe button and notification bell. Have a good afternoon, and we'll catch you on the flip side.